All right, I think we are ready to go. Just double checking the audio is working. The audio is working, and the screen is working, so we're good. Let's get started. Today we're gonna read. Today I'm about to read Act Two. Um, okay, yeah. I'm at the wrong page right now, so let me just jump down to Act Two. Today we're about to read Act 2 of Romeo and Juliet. The pre-reading I'm going to skip in today's stream just because I saw some amazing reviews in the Act 1 stream. So I don't think I'll need to, do more pre-reading because there's no specific reviews of specific acts. I mean, there probably are, but it'd be hard to find. So I'm going to skip the pre-reading today. I'll go straight into the reading itself. Let me make sure I can actually view the chat just in case anybody pops in. So I'm gonna have this window just set up really quickly so I can see it because I'm a streaming noob, so I don't really know how to do all this stuff. All right, but here we go. All right, let's go into Act 2 of Romeo and Juliet. Hang on, let me remind myself what just happened. Oh, right. So Romeo and Juliet have both just learned that the person they just fell in love with at a single dance, at a single ball, in one hot moment of making out, turns out to be the child of the enemy. Okay, so they're flipping out right now, and so what happens next? Probably in Act 2 we're going to start with a little bit of comedy. It's been a long time since I read Shakespeare, so I don't know exactly. I don't have a gut sense of what'll happen, but I assume some comedy will ensue. All right, here's the prologue. You know what's weird is how sad this first line is. I'm just sort of confused even by this very first line. Now old desire doth lie in his own deathbed. So old desire is dying. Oh, I see. And the young affection gives to be there. So older people are passing away. Okay, never mind. I thought it was something else. So that fair must be referring to Rosaline or Rosaline. Rosaline is now not fair anymore compared against Juliet. Suppose he must complain to his foe. I'm confused by that line, but whatever. And she still loves sweet babe from fearful hooks. Being held a foe, he may not have access to breathe such vows as lovers use to swear. I guess complain might be referring to like making a appeal. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the reason why I'm confused. Yeah, but anyway, he is held a foe, so he doesn't have access to Juliet, and she as much in love, her means much less to meet her. They have no ability to actually meet with each other, but passion lends them power. This but is powerful because it means They're not supposed to, but the passion lends them power. Time means to meet, tempering extremities with extreme sweet. Okay. I didn't. It was a little hard to understand, honestly. But the whole point is, yeah, they're not supposed to love each other, but they do. A lane by the wall of Capulet's orchard. So I assume this must be the same night. It must be the same night. Oh, it is the same night. Can I go forward? My heart is here. He climbs the wall and leaps down within it. He is wise, and on my lie hath stolen home to bed. Romeo, humors, mammon, passion, lover. I conjure thee by Rosaline's bright eyes, by her high forehead and her scarlet lip, by her fine foot straight like quivering thigh, and then the means that there is adjacent lie. Okay, adjacent to the thigh, yo, that is very sexual. What is next to the thigh, right? That in thy likeness thou appeared. He's like being such a bro. He's like, oh, Romeo, I will conjure you by sexually describing the woman that I think that you love. He's like kind of joking. 'Tis cannot anger him. 'Twould anger him to raise a spirit in his mistress circle of some strange nature. To raise up him. I wonder if that's like a boner joke. It feels like a boner joke to me. To raise up him. Come, he hath hid himself among these trees. His love is blind, therefore he should be in the dark. But if he's blind, he cannot hit the mark. Medlar tree. Okay, what is what is a medlar? Sure, let's look this up. Okay, that's a tree. And wish his mistress were that kind of fruit, as maid call medlars when they laugh alone. So we're describing a woman as a fruit right now. Romeo, that she were. Oh, that she were an open, etc., thou a popperin pear. This field bed is too cold for me to sleep. Come, shall we go then, for 'tis in vain. So they're all searching for him. He's not replying. They're talking about how romantic and horny Romeo might be. So that's basically scene one. Now we're in the orchard, so this is an extremely famous. Yeah, this is the scene. He jests at scars that never felt a wound. Huh. So Romeo is referring to Mercutio's jokes, right? Because Mercutio's making all these jokes. He's jesting. He's jesting at scars that never felt a wound. He's making fun of my scars that had never had a wound. I don't understand, but basically I think he's saying he's not being hurt. He's not being hurt. So yes, I was right though. We did start with some comedy. Now let's move. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief. that thou her maid art far more fair than she, be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools would wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady, oh, it is my love, oh, that she knew she were. Okay, so what's happening right now, it's just it's such famous lines that even though I hadn't read this, I just like remember it. These are such famous lines. What's happening is Juliet, he's hiding. He heard all the jokes of Mercutio. Now he's looking at Juliet through a window. So he's being a pervert. He's being a peeping Tom, actually. he's totally being creepy because he's literally hiding in her orchard. Okay. Kill the moon. Juliet is the sun. Juliet's killing the moon because the moon is envious, because you are fairer than the moon, because Juliet is fairer than the moon. So don't be the maid of the moon, since the moon is envious. Cast off that envy. It's kind of a confusing, honestly, line. Why would anyway? Whatever. It is my lady. It is Juliet. Oh, if only she knew she were my lady. She speaks, yes, she says nothing. So right now he's watching her speak. Her eye discourses. I will answer her eyes. Oh, but she's not speaking to me. These two fairest stars, the two eyes right now, we're looking at her eyes. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spirit. Oh, hang on. The stars are not the... Are the... Wait, two stars in the heaven having some business. Entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. Oh, her eyes are like taking the place of the stars. Okay, so her eyes are stars. Her eyes are stars. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? What if her eyes were in the sky? And what if the stars were in her eyes? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars. She's brighter than the stars, as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright that so her eyes, if they were in the sky, would be so bright that the birds would sing, and they would think it the morning. Birds would think they are in the morning. See how she leans her cheek upon it. I want to touch that. I want to be that glove. I want to be the glove that touches your cheek. Also, again, in the could be very pervy, but I mean, Romeo's apparently. I mean, he's not being pervy in this line, but you know, if you can interpret it that way, if you wanted to. He just wants to be. I mean, he's desirous. He's desiring Juliet. Obviously, there's sexual desire involved. So that's that. Ay me, she speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night, being over my head as is a wind. Hang on, I don't understand this sentence. For thou art as glorious to this night, being over my head as is a wind. Oh, right, you are like a winged message. You are like an angel. An angel who's catching the eyes of everybody else, of the mortals. This angel, by the way, is a he, so it's a male angel that we're describing, but still. O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be Capulet. So, why are you Romeo of the Montagues? Please, leave the Montagues, or if you will not leave the Montagues, I will leave the Capulets. Shall I hear more, or shall I speak? Right. Okay. And this is the dramatic irony when you're watching this scene. You know, Juliet does not know Romeo is there. Only Romeo knows that Juliet is there. So what we're waiting on is, will Romeo just keep listening? And what are we going to learn about Juliet's feelings and her thoughts when we just keep listening? Or will Romeo speak, and then that tension of them like kind of being next to each other but not knowing they're next to each other, will that end? course, Juliet keeps talking, so the tension keeps extending. Let's go. 'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Only your name is my enemy. You yourself are not a Montague. I don't care what a Montague it is. It's not hand or foot. Just be something else. What is a name? Even if we call a rose something else, it would still smell the same. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called if he had a different name. Romeo, remove your name. And for that name, which is no part of thee, take all of myself. In exchange for take all of me. Oh my god, that's so... It's honestly young love, so hysterical, so over the top. I take thee at thy word. So he speaks now. She basically has confessed, I am yours. And she didn't know she was confessing it, but she confessed it. And then he's like, I heard you. He's just jumping in. I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I will make myself a new name. What the hell? Juliet's like, who the hell? Right? By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself because it is an enemy to thee. He's like kind of not like joking, but it's like he's not telling her the name because you hate the name. She knows his voice immediately. Are you not Romeo? If you dislike those names, I am not Romeo. I am not a Montague. You will die if anyone finds you here. I came on love's light wings, my lady. I flew in on the wings of love. No walls can stop me. Therefore, and I am not scared of death. They will kill you, alack. There lies more peril in thine eye than 20. Your eyes are more deadly than than the swords. Juliet is freaking out. Like she's like, you cannot be here, which is it's a very relatable scene, right? The foolish boy does something out of love, and the girl's like, please, 정신 차려. In Korean, it's 정신 차려. What's that? Like, get a hold of yourself. Get out of here. She's tense. I would rather die than live seeking your love but not getting it. Love told me the direction here. I would go as far as the oceans for you. It's dark, but if it weren't dark, you would see the blush of everything I've said out loud. Basically, you heard things that you were not supposed to hear. That's what Juliet's saying. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke. I want to erase what just happened. I'm so embarrassed, right? Because fain means I want to, or am willing to. But farewell, compliment. I don't understand that particular line, but moving on. You love me. I know you love me. If you just say so. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Say it out loud. Tell me the magic words. Romeo. I'm frowning. Yeah. Oh, funny. Or if thou thinkst I am too quickly won. If you think I'm an easy girl, right? If you think I'm easy, then no, then I'll be flirty. I'll in Korean we call it 밀당, but I'll frown. I'll be perverse if you say no. Honestly, I am too fond of you, and therefore that makes me like, maybe you think I'm not serious, but I am true. I should have been more strange than that thou overheardst before I was aware my true love's passion. Therefore, pardon me and not impute this yielding to light love. Don't take my love trivially. It is serious that you found this thing in the dark night. Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops. Okay, I just zoned out for a second, but let me reset. Lady, by yonder, I swear on the moon. No, don't swear on the inconstant moon, the moon that keeps changing. Don't swear on the moon. I want your love to be unchanging. Don't swear. Oh my god, swear by your own self. You are the god of my idolatry. Like, I idolize you. Swear on yourself and I'll believe you. That is romantic. It's ridiculous, honestly. Imagine saying I I worship you. I worship you. Don't swear at all. Just swear on your own self. Dude, amazing line there. Well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It's too sudden. We're being too fast. Okay, so this is actually pretty crazy. Honestly, I'm. What's crazy about this is, you know, she gets hysterical and she gets very emotional, and then she starts self doubting. Am I being too light? And then now she's saying, "Oh, we're taking this too quickly," and these tropes like repeated like patterns that like cliches almost that you see in media. These tropes exist to this day when you watch like a romance movie or something. It's like, oh, we're going too fast, right? That's like such a common thing to say, and that's literally happening in these lines right now. um, Too like the lightning which doth cease to be before one can say it lightens. So she's saying bye. She's cutting it off like very suddenly. From Romeo's perspective, it's like, what? Stop! Hold on, don't go. But Juliet is like scared that she's being too hasty, that she's like confessing too much love, and Romeo's like, oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied? What satisfaction canst thou have tonight? The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine. I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again. I have already given you my confession, yet I'm willing to do it again. Would you take it away? But for the thing I have, my bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. Dear love, adieu. Anon, sweet good nurse, sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, I will come again. Oh, she's gonna come back. That's a fun scene. That's a fun scene. She's gonna come back. Oh, blessed night, I am afeared. It feels like a dream. It's crazy, so heated. 3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. Madam. Okay, so if that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, and send me word tomorrow. If you are an honorable love, if you're not just seducing me, if you want to get married, say so tomorrow. I'm gonna send somebody to you. Oh, what? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where and what time thou will perform the rite? She's basically willing to marry him after one night of dancing. Dude. Wait, she's 13, right? Insane. Oh, crazy. Dude. God, I love old literature. It's because I just a random side comment, but like more modern literature starts becoming extremely intellectual, and not it doesn't go for just pure joy, but in the Shakespearean theater, they were putting on these plays. Never forget that this is a play that has to be acted out, and there's scenery and stuff, right? You're trying to appease, like you're trying to entertain, and that's part of it. But you're entertaining with like this amazing wordplay because actually I don't know why the wordplay, but I guess people were onto it because that's like the medium of creativity. You're not gonna get like computer graphics at that time. So yeah, it's fun. What it is what I'm trying to say. This is fun. Madam, madam. By and by I come to cease thy suit and leave me to my grief. I'm so sad to go, but I must send tomorrow. So thrive a thousand times the worst. I remember this feeling of just like wanting to see my girlfriend, and the moment we're separated, just like I can't handle it. I just want to see her again. That feeling, God, Lord, that is it's an intense and uncontrollable. It's a wild feeling when you're young. It's crazy. 1,000 times the worse to want thy light. Love goes toward love, as schoolboys from their books, but love from love towards school with heavy looks. Right. This honestly, it's a hilarious. I don't remember this analogy at all, but love goes towards love, like it's like a inverted metaphor. Okay, so it's actually super creative, and it's like this kind of thing you would hear in like a rap song. Honestly, these days, the way that schoolboys go from their books, as in away from their books, love goes towards love. The way that they actually come together. So it's actually the opposite image, right? The force with which schoolboys avoid their books is the force with which these lovers come together. And then when love goes from love, when they are separating, it's the same amount of force that you get that when a boy is going towards school. It's such a funny, and it's a crazy like inverted analogy. It's like paradoxical almost. It's like the opposite image. Because normally a typical analogy would be like, I mean, to use a crude example, a crude example that schoolboys do use, or at least used to use, is like like fat boys like cake. Is that like a 50 Cent rap? Right? I think it's from like a rap from like 20 years ago. I don't even remember anymore, but like fat boys liking cake, right? So that's you getting together. You know what? I'm going to look this one up because it's kind of a. I mean, I'm making that rap connection. Might as well complete that connection. Fat kid loves cake. Right. It is a fat. Yeah, it's 21. I love you like a fat kid love cake. Right. That's the. Right. That is a 50 Cent. Um, Lyric. Now, I'm not going to say that's politically. I'm not going to say whether it's a good analogy or not. It's funny though, and it was funny at the time, and it was very popular at the time because people started using it all the time. But I love you that much, right? So love goes towards love, like fat kid goes towards cake. That would be a more typical analogy, but this is actually the exact opposite analogy. Love goes towards love as schoolboys run away from books, you know. So that's kind of it's just an interesting thing. I probably spoke way too long about that, but it's just an interesting image. I just don't ever remember a love analogy where we are describing it as schoolboys and books. You know, it's such an interesting image. So I just want to share that feeling, because love poetry is really hard to write because there's so many cliches. It's really hard to write, and Shakespeare avoids those cliches. Hissed, Romeo hissed, and then she comes back out again. This is like fan service, bro. She keeps coming back out. Oh, for a falconer's voice to lure this tasseled gentle back again, bondage is hort. And so this requires so much acting power. You need to, like, the actors, the actresses here, right? They have to, that desperation of love, like, for this not to be just straight up funny, for it to feel real at least, you have to have really powerful actors who are really good at acting this out. For a falconer's voice to lure this tasseled gentle back again, bondage is hoarse and may not speak aloud. And you gotta see the pure joy and desire on their faces. Seriously, if you're imagining the scene, you have to see that. Just to, because you just want to see that person again. It's such a desperate feeling. And I would say your name so many times that I would tear the cave where echo lies, because I've said your name so many times. It's my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sound thy softest music, Romeo, my dear. And she says the name right afterwards. You hussy, Romeo, my dear. At what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee? At the hour of 9 I will not fail. I forgot why I'm calling you back. Let me stand here until you remember. But if you're standing there, I can't remember. And I'll still stay. I want you to keep not remembering. I just want you to only be in love of, like, to feel this moment with me. 'Tis almost morning, I would have thee gone. They've been oh my god, and that's such a thing, right? To be on the phone, at least back in my day, just to be on the phone with a girlfriend, like, all the way until the morning, and yet no further than a wanton's bird who lets it hop a little from her head. Like, I need to send you away, but I don't want you to send you away too far, just a little. And I would love to be your bird, says Romeo. But if you were a bird, I would kill you with my smothering. Good night, parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow. She finally goes, sleep dwell upon thy eye, peace in thy breast, would I were sleep and rest, peace, sleep and rest. my dear hap, as in my situation. I think that's what the hap means. Um, he's gonna actually tell his father about his situation, I guess. Interesting. I don't remember that. And actually, at this point, I don't really remember what happens other than the ending. So, it's actually really interesting to read this again. Let's keep going. Scene three. Oh, wow, I'm hungry. Well, let's do scene three first and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll take a break afterwards. Uh, a basket. That basket's making me hungry, honestly. I'm like salivating. I'm like imagining like fruits and breads and meats. Um, it's the morning, and the darkness is reeling away. The sun is coming up, drying up the dank dew. Osier, Osier. Sure, it's like a bird. Yeah, it did feel like a bird with baleful weeds and flowers. The earth that is nature's mother is her tomb. What? What is her bearing grave that is her womb? Sucking on her natural bosom fine, many for mention. What? He's filling up a cage with weeds and flowers. The tomb of this bird. So this bird is dead, it seems like. What is her bearing grave that is her womb? Okay. The bird died because as she was giving birth. So this feels oddly symbolic of some sort. And the diverse children are sucking on her natural bosom of the mother. They're all different types of children. Oh, mickle is the powerful grace that lies in herbs, plants, stones, and their true qualities. For not so vile that on earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give. Virtue itself turns as being misapplied, vice sometimes by action dignified. Poison hath resin, medicine power. So that part cheers each part. Being tasted slays all senses with the heart. Hang on, what's the thing being tasted? For this, being smelt with that part cheers each part. Being tasted slays all senses. We're talking about poisons too, such opposed kings and captains still and men, as well as herbs, grace and rude will. And where the worser is predominant, full sin eats up that plant. Within this infant rind of this small flower. So he's talking about a poison, about how something that's coming from nature, which is a good thing, can be turned to something that is not a good thing, a vice. Poison and medicine are very connected to each other. So we have this, and so right now, this friar must be the supplier of the poison in the future. But I'm just trying to figure out here, and I guess I could share my screen. Okay, I will like I'm just I want to dig into this just a little because I feel like I mean I tried but I couldn't fully understand what's going on. So let me just try to get into this a little bit. Also, let me fix this dimensions so that it works. Yeah, does that? Okay, that should probably be good enough, right? Okay, so um, Act Two, Scene Three, Romeo, Juliet. So over here, I just want to double check what's going on. Because I think that bird thing got confusing. Okay, okay, I see. This basket of mine. Oh, okay, 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 okay. Now before the sun comes burns away the dew, I have to fill up the basket of mine with. So I was thinking of this bird that messed up everything because of this osier. And that the reason for that was because I was just looking at. Oh my God, it's a. Hang on, didn't it say bird or? Oh, it says willow, but for some reason I thought of it as a. Ah, Jesus. I see. The basket is the osier cage. Is it osier? Yeah, osier is the osier.
Osier. Osier.
Hang on. Oh, hang on. Yeah, that should be okay.
Osier.
Yeah, osier. Yeah, so the osier cage is the basket, and that, I for some reason I understood it as a bird, and that messed everything up. So I was very confused. With baleful weeds, precious juice flowers, the earth that's nature's mother is her tomb. The earth is the mother of nature. The earth is the tomb of nature. The the earth is the womb of nature. It is also the grave of nature. And from the earth, very diverse children come up. And these diverse children suck on the natural bosom of the earth, right? They stay nourished on the earth. Many of these diverse children are they have very excellent virtues. And they're all very different from each other. I'm going to skip some parts of that. And there's a powerful grace that's in the herbs and the plants and the stones and their true qualities, but they also have this power to kill. Okay. All right, I think that's good enough. I just had that bird thing that messed up my reading, and that was bothering me, and I really wanted to make sure uh, I could fix that error. Good morrow, Father. Huh? Hang on, let me just double check if the father, my ghostly father's cell. Oh, maybe he's not talking about his actual father. He's talking about the friar. Okay. Benedicite, or I don't know how to say that. What early tongue so sweet saluteth me? So it's the sort of question is is Romeo looking for poison right now for some reason? That makes no sense, right? But why would it be looking for help from his father? And then suddenly we have this father, this friar, talking about poison. It's like very conspicuous timing. There must be a problem if you're up so early, or maybe you didn't sleep at all. Yes, I did not sleep at all. I had much sweeter rest. Oh my God, did you sleep with Rosaline? Is basically what Friar says. No, 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 I've forgotten Rosaline. Good, you didn't have sex. Good job. I will tell thee before you ask it me again. I've been feasting with my enemy. When I was wounded, and our cure Only you have our cure. Don't confuse me, boy. I love the Capulet daughter, and she loves me, and I want you to marry us. That makes sense. That's the help of the friar. When and where and how we met, we wooed and made exchange of vow. But this I pray, please agree to marry us. What a holy Saint Francis! What the hell is going on? Did you already forget Rosaline? You guys are just horny. You guys are just looking for hot girls all the time. It's in your eyes. Jesus Maria, what a deal of brine hath washed, hath washed thy sallow cheeks, Rosaline. You used to cry so much. Basically, it's a metaphor. Brine, like salty water. The sun has not cleared your sighs from heaven yet. It's so soon. Your groans are still ringing in my ears. And you've changed this quickly? Pronounce this sentence then. Woman may fall when there's no strength in men. He's criticizing him for not being strong, I think. For doting, not for loving. You don't love. So this is such a classic. The old person is saying you're not in love. Don't be silly. That's so classic. And bids me bury love, not in a grave to lay one in, another out to have. Please don't chide me. Don't put me down. Rosaline did not love me, but Juliet does. Your love reads by rote. Your love doesn't know how to spell. It's a very immature and dumb love. Come with me. I will help you in one way. Because, that's interesting. The friar is on his side. Because maybe if you guys get married, your households, you might be able to. So this is the part of the story where we have some hope. But we know from the very first prologue that this is not going to end well. Okay, scene 4, here we go. Where the devil should this Romeo be? Came he not home tonight? Not to his father I spoke with his men. That same pale, hard-hearted wench, that Rosaline, torments him so that he will sure run mad. So this again is dramatic irony. We know what's going on, so it's funny. It's like funny. It's funny. It's also informative because it's like, everyone thinks he's still in love with Rosaline. The friar did. His closest friends do. But what's actually happening is there's this crazy internal turmoil and even like a secret plot to get married that's like brewing underneath the surface and no one knows. And the fact that no one knows makes it feel very like unsettled. Like this, this is happening so fast. It's so crazy, like I don't like using literary terms right away. Like, oh, that's dramatic irony or that's chiasmus or whatever. I don't like calling it out just for the sake of calling it out. But that's what's happening right now. I'm feeling this anxiety because it's happening so fast that even the friar, that even his friends don't know. But there's this secret plot already underway, and that's why the dramatic irony is such an interesting thing. Okay. Where am I? And Mercutio is like cursing That pale, hard-hearted wench. He's gonna go crazy. Tybalt, the kinsman of old Capulet, has sent a letter to his father's house. A challenge on my life. Tybalt has sent a letter to Romeo's father. Romeo will answer it. Any man that can write may answer a letter. No, he will answer the letter's master. How he dares being dared. Alas, poor Romeo, he is already dead, stabbed with a white wench's black eye, shot through the ear with a love song, the very pin of his heart cleft with a blind bow boy's butt shaft. And is he a man to encounter Tybalt? Mercutio's kind of shitting on Romeo right now. Dude, Romeo is so struck. He's such a pathetic guy because of Rosaline. There's no way he's going to fight Tybalt. Why, what is Tybalt? More than Prince of Cats, I can tell you. Oh, he is the courageous captain of compliments. He fights as you sing prick song. He's a good fighter. The what? The high. The what? The pop. That's hang on. Very first house of the first and the second cause. Ah, the immortal passado, the punto reverso, the high. The what? The pox of such antic. So Mercutio is just like blabbering, kind of in like this sing-songy, very colorful way, and Benvolio is like, what? And he like makes a mistake, the high. So like the Benvolio just makes it's funnier if you see it than if you read it. You're watching Mercutio being all fancy with his language, and Benvolio and making a mistake, and then Benvolio being so you're supposed to imagine that. It's funnier actually seeing it. The pox of such antic lisping affecting fantasticos, these new tuners of accent by Jesu, a very good blade, a very tall man, a very good whore. It's just being silly, honestly, at this point. Here comes Romeo, without his roe, like a dried herring flesh, how art thou fishified. It's a funny little... Mercutio has a very funny little language. Like, he has a very funny, idiosyncratic way of talking. It's very colorful, very playful. I mentioned this for Act 1, that all of these characters have such a specific language for them. So, and Mercutio has a extremely playful and extremely like on the nose, very sort of straightforward sound wordplay. And what I mean is, like I can't think of like a rapper from today's. But there are certain types of rappers that are extremely forward with all of the wordplay, like with all the sounds, like the consonants and the assonants and stuff, and like the alliteration. I'll just read it out loud just to explain to you, to show to you what I mean. But like, without, here comes Romeo, without his roe, like a dried herring flesh, how art thou fishified? Now is he for the numbers that Petrarch flowed in. Laura to his lady was but a kitchen wench. Mary, she had a better love to be rhyme her, Mary, rhyme her. Dido, a dowdy, Cleopatra, a gypsy, Helen and Hero, Hildings and harlots, Thisbe, a grey an eye or so, but not to the purpose. Signor Romeo, bonjour, there's a French salutation to your French slop. You gave us a counterfeit fairly last night. It's actually hard to say, honestly. I think Mercutio is supposed to not be particularly mellifluous. You know, he's not particularly beautiful with it, but he's just like all like razzmatazz, you know, just like all sort of surface. So this is supposed to get at Mercutio's sort of jocular, playful, just like kind of a little off the walls personality. How did I deceive you? The ship, sir, the slip, can you not conceive? I think this is an extremely sexually charged, joking language right now. Such a case of mine. A man may strain courtesy. My situation was really serious, and so I may have caused some. I might have been discourteous. I might have lacked some politeness. Sure, a case such as yours constrains a man to bow in the hands. To bow in the hands. Now, what it sounds like referring to like his thighs and stuff. Okay, but sure. To bow in the hands. So Mercutio thinks he might have gone off with Rosaline, right? Let me just go back and double check in Act 1, or Scene 1, I mean. Right. Because they think he's trying to sleep with Rosaline. So they're making fun of him. Meaning to curtsy. So Romeo is making it more polite. Thou hast most kindly hit it. Hit it, which, it sounds oddly a lot like tap it. Uh, a most courteous exposition. I have hit a most courteous. I was very polite. Nay, I'm the very pink of courtesy. Pink as in flower, not something else that's pink, with something sexual that's pink. Right. Well, why? Then is my pump well flowered? Now Romeo is saying the word pump, which sounds sexual. Well said, follow me this jest now till thou hast worn out thy pump until you've worn out your pump. Which is okay. That when the single soul of it is worn, the jest may remain after the wearing soul singular. Oh, single souled jest, solely singular for the singleness. Come but between us, good Benvolio, my wits faint. Switch and spurs, or I'll cry a match. Nay, if thy wits run the wild goose chase, I have done, for thou hast more of the wild goose in one of thy wits than, I am sure, I have in my whole 5. Was I with you there for the goose? Dude, I don't fully understand the jokes, honestly. It's hard to understand. But it just feels like there's hints of it. Um, the goose. You have crazy goose. And was I with you there with the goose? It's like a funny little dialogue. I will bite thee by the ear for that jest. Nay, good goose, bite not. Thy wit is a very bitter sweeting. It is a most sharp sauce. And is it not well served into a sweet goose? I don't know if Romeo's making gay jokes at this point, because that's kind of what it feels like. Like, I'm gonna serve my sauce into you, my sweet goose. Like, dude. And it's here's a wit of cheverel that stretches from an inch narrow to an ell broad. I'll stretch it out for that word broad, which added to the goose proves thee far and wide a broad goose. Why is not this better now than groaning for love? Why is not this better now than groaning for love? Now art thou sociable. See, okay, so this is the part now I'm starting to actually understand, but wow, this is so much better. I'm so glad to have you like this rather than groaning for love all the time. Now you're being social. Now you're being you, Romeo. Now you are the way that you normally are, by art as well as by nature. For this driveling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide his bauble in a hole. Stop there. Bauble in a hole. Okay, now I don't know what bauble actually means, so let's look this up. but the hole is extremely sexual. His trinket in a hole. Thou desirest me to stop in my tail against the hair. Thou wouldst have made thy tail large. Oh, thou art deceived. I would have made it short. Dude. Yo. For I was come to the whole depth of my tail, and meant indeed to occupy the arguments no longer. So this short and large and longer. Here's goodly. Anyway, there's a lot of sexual innuendo there. Here's goodly gear. A sail, a sail. Peter, who's Peter? Tutu, a shirt and a smock. Peter, anon, my fan. Peter, good Peter, to hide her face, for her fan's the fair face. God ye good morrow, gentlemen. God ye good den, fair gentlewoman. So we're making fun of how ugly the nurse is. Is a good den. 'Tis no less. Body hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon. The body hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon. Out upon you, what a man are you? Is it a good den? The prick of noon. There's something going on. I don't know if he's making fun of her looks now, or he's like making like sexual passes at her. Very confusing. O gentlewoman, that God hath made for himself to mar. By my troth, it is well said, for himself to mar. Yea, is the worst well, very well, took in faith, wisely. If you be he, sir, confidence, she will indict him to some sup. Abod, so ho, what hast thou found? What does whore means? Harry? Okay, oh, gray, right, whore, right. No hair, unless it's a hair in a pie. That is something stale and gray before it is spent. An old hair whore is very good meat in Lent, but a hair that is whore is too much for a score when it whores before it be spent. Will you come to your father, will to dinner thither? I'm overwhelmed by these jokes. I don't fully understand, but I'm going to keep going on. What saucy merchant was this that was so full of his ropery? He loves to hear himself talk. Yes. He's very talkative, that's right. Mercutio has that personality. And to speak anything against me, I'll take him down, and are lustier than he is, and 20 such jacks, and if I cannot, I'll find those that shall, scurvy knave. I am none of his flirt gills, I am none of his skeins made, and thou must stand by too, and suffer every knave to use me at his pleasure. So the nurse is upset by all of the sexual jokes of Mercutio. If I had my weapon should quickly have been out, I warrant you I dares. In this case, I think Peter's talking about the word pleasure in terms of actual, like rapey, like sexual violence, whereas she's talking about pleasure in terms of he's making fun of me. So Peter's sort of avoiding the topic. My young lady, so this must be Juliet's nurse, what she bade me say I will keep to myself. But first let me tell ye, if ye should... Oh, okay, so the nurse is being defensive for Juliet. A fool's paradise, as they say. For the gentlewoman is young, and therefore if you should deal double, if you are not true to her... She's kind of threatening Romeo. She is threatening Romeo. good heart and in faith I will tell her as much. Lord, Lord, she will be a joy. Thou dost not mark me. You do not understand me, I think. That you do protest. Okay. The nurse is so upset that she doesn't want to hear Romeo's actual answer. That's what's happening. So it's like Romeo's like, Nurse, commend me to thy lady and mistress. I protest unto thee, right? I'm trying to tell you. Good heart, that's what I'll tell her. You protest. What are you gonna tell her? Oh, that you protest. That's your answer, right? No, 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 no. Please tell her to come to Shrift this afternoon, and to be shrived and married with me. This is your, and so here's for that pains. Romeo is giving her a penny, not a penny. Go to, I say you shall. This afternoon, sir. Well, she shall be there. Okay, so the nurse has just been won. And stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour, my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords. Wait, what? Made like a tackled stair, which to the high top gallant of my joy. So they're gonna bring horses, I think. Commend me to thy mistress. Hark you, sir. Listen to you, man. What sayest thou, dear nurse? Is your man secret? Did you ne'er hear say, two may keep counsel, putting one away? Okay, right. You should not trust some other man, is what the nurse is saying. I warrant thee, my man's as true as steel. Well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Lord, Lord, when 'twas a little prating thing, oh, there is a noble man in town, one Paris, that would fain lay knife aboard. By the way, lay knife aboard, he wants to sleep with Juliet, is what that means. But she, good soul, had as lief see a toad, a very toad, as see him. Now, she's seeing, right? She would rather see a toad than see Paris. I anger her sometimes and tell her that Paris is the properer man, but I'll warrant you when I say so, she looks as pale as cloud. Both with an R. Ah, mocker, that's the dog's name. R is for the, no, I know it begins with some other letter. Of you and Rosemary, that it would do good to hear. Come on. Yeah. So nurses, we're making fun of the nurses' illiteracy a little bit, but moving on. Peter anon. Take my fan and go before him in pace. Whew. Scene 5. There's scene 6, and then that's act 3. I'm just debating whether to keep reading, but it's not a lot left, so I will keep reading, and I really need to eat, but I'll do this after finishing act 2. I can make it. The clock. Okay, so hang on. Let me just catch up on what's happening right now. So far, it's just been a lot of lighthearted joking around with Mercutio, with Romeo, first of all, starting the plot, with Juliet continuing the plot to get secretly married. Meanwhile, they all still don't know. No one besides the friar and the nurse, and now maybe this man by Romeo, whoever this man is, no one really knows who Romeo loves. Crazy. Everyone. And so we're still in the feel good era right now. We're gonna move towards not feeling as good soon. So we'll see what happens at the end of this act. Something bad, but we do know that there's two kind of characters that are causing problems, which is Tybalt and Paris. Those two characters will cause problems. Also, we've introduced this idea of the poison, right? And so where does this poison come out? Now we kind of already know that the poison comes out at the very end. But we've also introduced this other idea of like, well, you don't want to tell too many people. They're not going to keep the secret very well. So maybe the secret leaks somehow. All right, let's see what happens. She's so slow. So Juliet is feeling rushed because she really wants to hear the news. Love's herald should be thoughts. She wishes she could have like telepathy, right? Just like the ability to just communicate through the thoughts. It's fast, 10 times faster than the sun. Which amazing metaphor, by the way, or so amazing, analogy, by the way, that like the sun's beams have a certain speed, and then there's something even faster. We're literally talking about the speed of light right now, which I don't think that was a very clear concept. And well, I think that, it is a concept. No, never mind. Never mind. I'm being silly. Of course, there's this idea of the speed of light because when you open a window, the sun's light comes in instantaneously. So, never mind. 3 hours and she still hasn't come. But she's old. Oh, finally she comes. Oh, honey nurse. What news? I am aweary. What a jaunt have I had. Please tell me, Jesu, what haste? Do you not see I am out of breath? How art thou out of breath when thou hast breath to say to me that thou art out of breath? The excuse that thou dost make in this delay is longer than the tale thou dost excuse. Is thy news good or bad? Answer to that, say either, and I'll stay the circumstance. Let me be satisfied. Is it good or bad? It's such an amazing, such a classic. This kind of scene also exists in so many movies after. Oh my god, just out with it, please. Your explanations are longer than the answer. You're choosing the wrong man. Yes, he's pretty. Yes, he has a nice body. But he's not courteous. But he is gentle. Come on, ignore him. Serve God. Go thy ways, wench. Serve God. What have you dined at home? But all this, I've already heard you say all this. What does he say of marriage? Oh, my head aches. What a head have I. The nurse is, this is so cute. It's such a cute scene. Where is your mother's? The nurse is... Okay. The nurse is not giving the answer, and Juliet is basically super overexcited. The nurse might actually be smiling. She might be smiling. She might be kind of doing this on purpose. And she's like, "Oh, you do your own messages," you know. She might be teasing Juliet. That's the way I'm reading it. Have you got leave to go to shrift today? Now, what is shrift? It's come out multiple times. Is it like a confession. Okay, I was thinking of like a chapel, but yes. Then hie you hence. Finally, the answer is coming out. To Friar Lawrence's cell. There stays a husband to make you. Oh what? Oh my God! I can just imagine Juliet's face. She would be so happy. Like, now comes the wanton blood up in your cheeks. Wanton, like it's a bad word. Like what do you call it? Excessive, right? Licentious. Um, they'll be in scarlet straight at any news. Hie you to church, I must another way. Like so like the nurse is like happy for her, but also like scared a little. It's a complicated feeling, and the nurse is such a secondary character, but has this complicated. Dude, I am loving this. I am loving this right now. It's so human and so full. These scenes are so alive. It makes me smile to watch to read this. I am the dredge and toil in your delight, but you shall bear the burden soon at night. I must go to church. I must another way to fetch a ladder, by the which your love must climb a bird's nest soon when it. Oh, so this is actually talking about the consummation. Bird's nest, like the bed. I'm the one who will be doing the work for your delight, and you're gonna bear the burden soon at night, like the burden of like sex and like pregnancy and stuff. Go out to dinner. Go to the cell. Hie to high fortune, honest nurse, farewell. So this is all good feelings still. So smile the heaven. Oh, is she there already? Oh wow. So they get married. Yeah. That after hours with sorrow chide us not. Amen, amen. But come what sorrow can, it cannot countervail the exchange of joy that one short minute gives me in her sight. That do thou but close our hands with holy words, then love devouring death do what he dare. Hang on, what's this like slightly dark language here? Please close our hands with holy words. Please consummate this marriage, or please confirm this marriage. Then love devouring death do what he dare. Then we will not be able to be killed by death. I want to call her mine. Your violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die, like fire and powder, which as they consume the kiss. Love moderately. Okay, if you love this violently, it ends violently. So be more moderate. Long love doth so. Too swift arrives as tardy as too slow. Here comes the lady. So the friar and the nurse are both a little nervous about this. Okay, and it's the gut feeling of the older people. We're calling them old people, right? It's just the gut feeling of the older, wiser people, and it's in the background, and it makes me feel like, oh, something weird is, it feels a little off, slightly, right? They're super excited, but there's this tone, there's this idea of this poison. There's the Tybalts, there's the Paris, and then there's the nurse, and then there's the friar, and they're both a little, they're a little iffy about it. And Romeo is speaking pretty well, you know. He's look at this. I mean, it's good language. Ah, Juliet, if the measure of thy joy be heaped like mine, and that thy skill be more to blazon it. Okay, if your joy, the fire of your joy is this big, and if your ability is to make it even bigger, then sweeten with your breath this air around us, and let rich music's tongue unfold the imagined happiness that both receive in either by this dear encounter. Just speak into this air for us. Conceit more rich in manner than in words brags of his substance, not of ornament. They are but beggars that can count their worth, but my true love is grown to such excess that I cannot sum of half my wealth. Being rich in words. When you are rich in words, when you're rich in ornament, it cannot be counted. It is too big. And I guess that's referring to love here. To also to Romeo's words. Come with me and we'll make short work, for by our leaves you shall not stay alone, till holy church incorporate two in one. So it actually hasn't happened. They haven't gotten married yet. And that is Act 2. Alright guys, that was fun. Honestly, I had not read Shakespeare in such a long time, and the last time I read Shakespeare was for class in college, and it was still pretty academic at the time. The experience of it, like feeling like wow, this is fun. You know, that's not a feeling I'd ever felt when I was younger while reading Shakespeare, but I'm feeling it right now, and I'm really glad that I could kind of share that experience with you guys. So I hope that you guys can also feel some of that energy, and you know maybe when you're reading it on your own you can't, and when you're reading it with spark notes, you can't really feel the fun, but by listening to like just like reading it along with me, you can feel some of where that energy is coming from. I hope that's conveying itself naturally through to you guys. And I'm very curious, if you guys have any feedback or any comments on what's working for you, how you're listening to this. Are you listening to this at 2 times speed? Are you skipping around to certain parts? Like, how are you actually watching this video? I'm super curious. I'll see you guys in the next installation of this live reaction reading of Romeo and Juliet. See you guys soon.